And here's what's happening in celebrity news, y'all. The question is, where is Wendy, y'all? People want to know, where is Wendy?
No money. Now I'm going to tell you something. If it happens to me, it could happen to you.
Hold on to your seats, folks. You won't believe the jaw-dropping details emerging about Wendy Williams' guardianship nightmare. Imagine being cut off from the world, isolated, and even unable to see your own family. That's right, insiders are revealing that Wendy's situation might be even more dire than Britney Spears' infamous conservatorship ordeal. Her guardian, who isn't even a family member, has complete control over her life, from finances to her daily meals. The former TV queen is trapped, and her closest friends are sounding the alarm. Is Wendy Williams a prisoner in her own home? The truth may be even darker than you think. Get ready for explosive revelations. Stay tuned.
That's what people responded to, her authenticity. And then at the peak of her career, she was gone.
Picture this. Wendy Williams, once the reigning queen of daytime talk, now a shadow of her former self, hidden away from the public eye. The first signs of trouble appeared when Wendy abruptly vanished from her show, leaving fans in the dark and sparking endless speculation about her health and whereabouts. Soon, whispers of a guardianship began circulating, and Wendy's name became linked to yet another story of celebrity exploitation.
Did you see a neurologist to find out if I'm crazy?
The shocking Lifetime documentary Asterisk, Where is Wendy Williams? Asterisk reveals a grim picture of her current reality. Executive producer Mark Ford and his team were determined to shed light on Wendy's struggles. According to Ford, their primary goal was straightforward: to help Wendy reconnect with her family.
We were all sitting on the sidelines watching, and she was crying out for help.
Did you drink this whole thing today?
Keep it there.
Okay.
Keep it there.
The more they uncovered, the more they realized just how severe Wendy Williams' isolation had become. Diagnosed with dementia and aphasia, Wendy was placed under a restrictive guardianship that kept her cut off from her family. "I miss my family, I'll be here," she had said, her voice echoing a familiar sadness. Wendy's situation is hauntingly similar to Britney Spears' conservatorship saga, only, some say, even darker. Unlike Britney, who had a family member as her guardian, Wendy's life is controlled by Sabrina Morrissey, who has no familial connection to her. Longtime friend Regina Shell voiced her alarm in an emotional interview, comparing Wendy's plight to Britney's with a crucial difference. This is a Britney Spears thing, only worse because it's not even Wendy's family that has control. Her story took an even more disturbing turn when reports of financial exploitation surfaced, with Wells Fargo freezing her accounts due to concerns over her ability to manage her finances.
I miss my family.
Despite Wendy's efforts to seek help from financial experts, the court appointed Sabrina Morrissey as her guardian. Since then, Wendy's life has been controlled down to the smallest details, including when and what she is allowed to eat. Regina Shell recounted an incident where Wendy's breakfast, ordered at 7:30 a.m., didn't arrive until nearly noon, by which time Wendy was already due for lunch. This level of neglect raises serious questions about her guardian's true intentions.
About keeping me away from my money. This is not right. And you know this is not fair.
Wendy's guardianship isn't just a legal arrangement, it's a stranglehold on her independence. The documentary highlighted how guardianship works in New York, where Wendy's case is managed. Though guardianship is intended to protect those unable to manage their affairs due to illness or disability, the system can be vulnerable to abuse. Guardians hold extensive power, controlling finances, medical care, and personal decisions. The court's decision to appoint Sabrina Morrissey, who had no previous connection to Wendy, has raised serious concerns about the integrity of this process.
My life.
Right now, she's weak and vulnerable, and she needs to be around people who aren't going to take it back.
This is the reality of what the world-famous Wendy Williams' life was under a guardianship in New York.
Friends and family have expressed their despair in the documentary, with Wendy's sister Wanda saying, "The people who love her cannot see her. How did we end up here?" Their frustration is palpable, knowing that legal restrictions prevent them from intervening in her care. The documentary's producers shared this growing concern. As filmmaker Mark Ford recalled, "Toward the end of filming, you could see Erica and Michael were very worried, saying to her management, 'Something has to be done. This is getting very dire and scary.'" The emotional strain is deepened by the financial exploitation Wendy faces. Before her accounts were frozen, Wendy reportedly had $50 million, but the exact amount now is unclear. What's certain is that her finances are steadily drained by a cadre of legal professionals with little regard for her well-being. This abuse of power highlights a systemic failure to protect those whom guardianship laws are meant to serve.
You see the people that were around her, they were also very overwhelmed and confused by the situation that they were put into.
How did Wendy Williams, once a beloved TV host, end up as a virtual prisoner? The answer may lie in the troubling nature of financial guardianships, which can be exploited by those seeking to profit from someone else's misfortune. A guardian can be appointed based on a court's determination of incapacity, often without the person's input or consent. Once appointed, the guardian holds near total control with minimal oversight. Wendy's situation highlights just how easily this system can be abused. Her sudden incapacity, despite years of competent financial management, raises serious questions. Regina Shell expressed her disbelief, saying, "I don't know how she went from at least 90% Wendy to incapacitated and isolated from everyone." The endgame seems clear: control and profit. The system allows guardians to capitalize on their role, collecting significant fees for their services. For Wendy, this has led to the rapid depletion of her finances, leaving her isolated and powerless. The documentary poses a critical question. If this could happen to Wendy Williams, who else is at risk?
Former daytime star Wendy Williams says she's out of cash.
The most troubling part is that this didn't happen overnight. Wendy's loved ones have been sounding the alarm about her declining condition for years, but it seemed no one cared enough to intervene meaningfully. Her son, Kevin Hunter Jr., has been vocal about his concerns, warning anyone who would listen that his mother was being exploited. He repeatedly emphasized that those surrounding her seemed more focused on her earnings than on her well-being. "They are lying," he insisted, underscoring his frustration and alarm.
Wendy is at a facility doing her best to be her best. She's taking it day by day. People forget that she deals with grave disease.
Kevin Hunter Jr.'s frustrations reflect those of other family members who feel shut out. He has publicly voiced concerns that the team around Wendy prioritizes her income over her health. His worries deepen as, despite her condition, there appears to be an unrelenting push to keep her working.
They are lying, and he's claiming they're lying. They're signing her up for projects that she's not ready for, including a possible unscripted.
This sentiment highlights a deeper issue within the guardianship system: the potential for those in positions of power to exploit the very individuals they are meant to protect.
Her for projects she would never do in her right mind.
Even her former co-workers have long hinted at the exploitation. Charlemagne the God, once a close colleague, expressed his disbelief at how Wendy's family could endorse the documentary that exposed her vulnerabilities.
He accuses her handlers of taking advantage of her wealth, fame, and inability to make a proper decision. He believes her team is ignoring her mental and physical health.
His shock wasn't just about the content, but the fact that Wendy's family, who were supposed to love and care for her, would allow such an intimate and distressing portrayal to be aired. This sentiment was echoed by Wendy's former publicist, Shan Zadie, who revealed that the documentary was not the project Wendy had agreed to. "She thought we were focusing on the comeback of her career," Zadie explained. Instead, the documentary highlighted her decline, something that would have deeply mortified Wendy. It's a situation reminiscent of what Kanye West has often shared about the darker side of fame and the exploitation that can accompany it. He's spoken out about being labeled as crazy, a label that hurts him deeply.
I immediately prayed for Wendy after I watched that, and I don't understand why they got the camera in that woman's face. For what?
Kanye West's candidness about the manipulation he faces resonates with Wendy's story. His insistence on staying true to himself, despite the backlash, highlights a shared struggle against an industry that often prioritizes profit over the well-being of the individual.
And I wouldn't be here. And on the news, they would have said it was because...
Wendy's story serves as a tragic reminder of how quickly someone's life can be overtaken by those looking to exploit their misfortune. Her sudden incapacity, despite years of managing her finances competently, raises serious concerns about the processes that led to her current situation. Regina Shell's poignant question, "What's the end game in all of this?" resonates profoundly. The answer seems to be a disturbing blend of control and profit, where guardians and legal professionals benefit while the individual suffers.
I ain't never been back to the hospital since 2015, but every time they say I'm crazy, it's just what I'm saying.
Kanye West's outspoken nature mirrors Wendy's plight. His struggle against being labeled and manipulated by those around him highlights a similar battle for autonomy and respect. As his ex-wife Kim Kardashian once described their journey with his bipolar disorder, it's an emotional process. Wendy's journey, though different, carries the same emotional complexity, defined by a fight against a system that seeks control rather than support. And that's the harrowing reality of Wendy Williams' story.